Good morning, everyone. I would like to call this meeting to order at 10 a.m. As many of you know, the governor has recently signed Public Act 101-0640, making certain amendments to the Open Meetings Act so that we, along with other boards and commissions, can continue to host virtual meetings during this COVID-19 public health emergency, provided that certain conditions are met. One of those conditions is that I, as head of the Chicago Plan Commission, determine that an in-person meeting of the Chicago Plan Commission is not practical nor prudent. I want to make sure our virtual meetings meet all the conditions of the Open Meetings Act as amended. Therefore, I am making a determination pursuant to the newly created Section 72 of the Open Meetings Act that an in-person meeting of the Chicago Plan Commission is not practical nor prudent. Similarly, I am also making a determination pursuant to the newly created Section 75 that because of the disaster as declared by the governor, it is unfeasible for at least one member of the Chicago Plan Commission to be physically present at the meeting place inasmuch as there is no physical meeting place. Before we get into the full meeting agenda for the February 17, 2022 Chicago Plan Commission meeting, I would like to ask everyone that because we are meeting virtually, please be mindful of your surroundings in terms of noise. Please remember to keep yourself muted when you are not speaking. The meeting is being recorded and also live streamed for public viewing. Lastly, if you are an active participant in the meeting, especially if you are speaking, please do not watch the live stream as this will cause audio interference. Thank you. I also want to quickly provide guidance to those who have pre-registered to provide testimony on the cases presented for public hearing today. Those who requested to testify at the Plan Commission today should have already submitted testimony forms, which includes speaker's full name and address, as well as the public hearing item number. Those forms have been gathered by staff. I would also like to remind our presenters to be mindful of the presentation length. Please stay on point in a concise and efficient manner so as to respect the time of all in attendance. Out of respect for others, speakers will limit their comments to 3 minutes. So when your name is called, your microphone will be unmuted to allow you to make your comments. Please, let's see. And so I know with our speakers, they will stay within that 3 minutes. Public comment portion of the meeting is not a question and answer session of the app, nor of the staff or the applicant, but an opportunity for attendees to voice their opinions on a particular proposal. Out of respect for others, please do not interrupt or disrupt the speakers. Any individual disrupts the presentation or any subsequent comment session may be muted and removed from the virtual hearing session. So with that, I will go to roll call. Commissioner Barkley.
Here.
Commissioner Brumfeld.
Here.
Thank you. Thank you both. Commissioner Burnett. Commissioner Burnett not here yet. Commissioner Biaggi. Not here yet. Cordova is present. Commissioner Cox.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Escudero.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Flores.
Here.
Commissioner Garza. Thank you.
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Lightfoot, not present. Commissioner Lyons.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Moore. Not here yet. Commissioner Murphy.
Yes, here.
Thank you. Commissioner Novata. Not here yet. Commissioner Osterman, not here. Commissioner Pinheiro.
Yes, here.
Thank you. Good morning. Commissioner Reyes.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Searle.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Sposato. Not here. Commissioner Tunney.
Here.
Thank you. And Commissioner Villegas.
Present.
And thank you. And Commissioner Wagesbach. Not here yet. We will now approve the minutes from the January 20th, 2022 regularly scheduled Plan Commission meeting. The minutes were distributed prior to today's hearing. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the regularly scheduled meeting of the Chicago Plan Commission held on the January 20th, 2022?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Lotus, was that?
Lyons.
Lyons, sorry, Commissioner. Seconded by?
Reyes.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. I've got to do roll call. Commissioner Barkley, this is on the minutes. Motion to approve minutes. Commissioner Barkley?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Brumfeld?
Yes.
Commissioner Burnett not here. Commissioner Biaggi not here. Cordova's yes. Commissioner Cox?
Yes.
Commissioner Escudero?
Yes.
Commissioner, thank you. Commissioner Flores?
Yes.
Commissioner Garza?
Yes.
Commissioner Lyons,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore. I'm sorry, she's not here yet. Commissioner Murphy,
Yes.
Commissioner Pinheiro,
Yes.
Commissioner Reyes,
Yes.
Commissioner Searle,
Yes.
Commissioner Tunney,
Yes.
and Commissioner Villegas.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Motion passes. We will now take public testimony for the items remaining on the agenda today. I have 2 people signed up to speak on items today. When I call your name, please wait a moment until you are unmuted. Then you may proceed to speak. Please be reminded that you will have 3 minutes to speak. The first is Butler Adams to speak about the We Will plan. The second is Steve Simmons to speak about item D1 at 1653 West Webster. And that concludes the list of those who completed speaking forms. Mr. Adams, we'll go to you first.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can.
Good morning, commissioners. I'm just here to speak very quickly about the We Will Chicago initiative about the planning. And I'm certainly all about Chicago making a brand new plan and to make things equitable. But one thing I'd like to see is just an overall rezoning of the city itself. I personally think that the zoning that we have right now is, kind of stifling and very conservative and doesn't allow us to do the things that we need to make things equitable and to bring that density back. Right now, there are things going on in the city. The city is buying properties like the city's buying the property at 18th Peoria. I think that's $12 million. Back in the day, there was a plan there for 430 units. And now they're only talking about building up to 280 units, I guess, all affordable. And this is my problem. That is more than 7 acres of property. And I live in Woodlawn on the south side, and there's a pretty big proposal in my neighborhood called like Woodlawn Station on 63rd Street. That's going to be 8 acres. And in my neighborhood, they're planning over 800 units on that piece of land. So if we're going to have more than 800 units on that land, in my area, 30% has to be affordable. That's like 220 units of affordability. And then you have all those units for everything else. So I think that Pilsen property should be a whole lot denser than what's being planned right now. I'm doing some spring cleaning right now, getting rid of stuff. I'm looking at an article right now that came out in the Chicago Journal back in June 29th of 2006, preserving Pilsen without the acrimony. Tax relief isn't sexy, but it may prove more successful than downzoning. So that's one of the things that we need is more property tax relief for commercial properties. Anything 6 units and more is considered a commercial property, and you have to pay more in taxes. My family owns a 6-unit building, and our taxes are a lot more. In terms of what's happening right now, I love all the TOD that's happening. I want to see more of that. You all approved something a few months ago at 43rd Street in Prairie, 100 units of affordability. There's going to be a phase 2, 70 more units. There's so much vacant land along the Green Line where this stuff can't happen. I've recently read plans that the city's talking about buying an Aldi on the west side because they don't have a grocery store. Well, build an urban store on the north side along the Bloomingdale line. Aldi was approved a few years ago with residential above that. In Hyde Park, you have City Hyde Park at 51st Street and Lake Park. You have parking below a Whole Foods and 180 units above. So I want us to think more boldly in terms of our planning and just be much more aggressive on that fact. With the Woodlawn Station project, please extend the Green Line back towards the area along 63rd Street. Going to have the Obama Center under construction right now. And everything that's going on in the West Loop right now, don't slow that down. Don't slow it down. Turn the Fulton Market area into a TIF district and capture that money for the infrastructure. But let's keep things going. I don't have that much to add, but thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Steve Simmons.
Good morning, Chair Cordova, members of the Plan Commission. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in support of the proposed amendment to Residential Business Plan Development 1420. This is related to the properties located at 1653-1739 West Webster Avenue and 2075 to 2189 North Elston Avenue. My name is Steve Simmons. I'm the Director of Business and Economic Development at North Branch Works. We are a membership-based neighborhood economic development organization. For 40 years, we've helped businesses in the North Branch grow and be able to offer head of household jobs to Chicago residents. The properties in question are located in our service area. The applicant has met with us and is working closely with many neighborhood stakeholders in the North Branch, including the 32nd Ward office. It has been a pleasure working with the applicant. We asked the Plan Commission to approve the proposed amendment. We look forward to connecting Lions Mane LLC with city programs, resources, and support as it opens its business operations in the North Branch. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Simmons and Mr. Adams, for coming down. Next on the agenda are matters submitted in accordance with the Interagency Planning Referral Act. Do I have a motion to approve item number 1 under the negotiated sale heading and items number 2 and 3 under the ANLAP heading? Do I have a motion?
So moved by Commissioner Searle.
Thank you, Commissioners. Seconded by?
Garza.
Thank you, Commissioner Garza. Roll call vote, Commissioner Barkley,
Yes.
Commissioner Brumfeld. I know he's here, I'll come back to him. Commissioner Cordova is a yes. Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Escudero,
Yes.
Commissioner Flores,
Yes.
Commissioner Garza,
Yes.
Commissioner Lyons,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore. I'm sorry, she's usually here. I'm sorry, she's not here today. Commissioner Murphy,
Yes.
Commissioner Novata,
Yes.
Commissioner Pinheiro,
Yes.
Commissioner Reyes,
Yes.
Commissioner Searle,
Yes.
Commissioner Tunney,
Yes.
and Commissioner Villegas.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Burnfield, yes.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Motion passes. Matters now to be heard in accordance with the Lake Michigan and Chicago Lakefront Protection Ordinance and/or Chicago zoning. We will move on to the public hearing portion for those matters. First item on the agenda is D1, a proposed amendment to Residential Business Plan Development 1420, submitted by Lions Mane Partners LLC for the property generally located at 1653-1739 West Webster Avenue and 2075-2189 North Elston Avenue. The applicant proposes to amend Residential Business Plan Development 1420 to add sports and recreation participant indoor as a permitted use in sub-area A. No changes are proposed to the existing approved improvements in the plan development. 20909. This is in 32nd Ward. Emily Thrun will provide the context overview and the applicant will present their proposal. Ms. Thrun.
Thank you. For the record, my name is Emily Thrun with the Department of Planning and Development. The applicant appears here today because they are proposing to amend Residential Business Plan Development 1420 to add a sports and recreation participant indoor as a permitted use in sub-area A. No changes are proposed to the existing approved improvements in the plan development. The subject site is located in the Logan Square community area. About 37% of the community area contains two-person households, 20% of the households have no vehicle, and 43% of the residents walk, bike, or take transit to work. The site is bordered by West Webster Avenue to the north, the Chicago Northwestern Railroad to the east, and North Elston Avenue to the southwest. The site is approximately 1 block east of the Kennedy Expressway and within less than 1/4 of a mile of the Clybourne Metro platform. It is also near the Ashland and Ashland Express CTA bus lines. Due to the project's proximity to the Metro station and the Ashland bus corridor, it is eligible to receive transit-served location benefits. The site is located in the North Branch Industrial Corridor within the North Sub-area in the Framework Plan, which identifies mixed use as an appropriate land use for this area. The zoning districts in the immediate area are C1-1, C1-2, C2-1, C3-3, M1-3, M3-3, and Plan Developments 907 and 1110. Surrounding land uses are predominantly commercial, surface parking lot, and parking garages. Here's a rendering of the site looking northwest. Most of the project has already been constructed. The proposal is subject to the North Branch Framework Plan that was adopted by the Chicago Plan Commission in May 2017. Some of the goals of the plan include maximizing the North Branch as an economic vital job center, providing better access for all transportation modes, and enhancing natural resources and built assets through the corridor. Now I will turn the presentation over to Chris Leach, the applicant's attorney, who will further explain the details of the proposal.
Thank you very much, Emily. Good morning, Chairwoman Cordova and Plan Commissioners. My name is Chris Leach. I am the attorney for with Ackerman LLP, appearing this morning on behalf of the applicant Lions Main Partners LLC in connection with the proposed amendment to Residential Business Plan Development 1420. Also with me today is Connor Patson, a principal of the applicant. As slide number 7 indicates, PD 1420 was initially approved in September of 2018 as a mixed-use development consisting of 4 subareas A, B, C, and D, and then amended in December of 2020, adding an additional dwelling unit to subarea C. The proposed amendment before you today is simply to add a permitted use of sports and recreation participant indoors to subarea A. The location of the new use is outlined in red and will be in the ground floor commercial space of subarea A. The proposed amendment does not change the approved site plan or the design of any of the existing buildings. Next slide, please. Here is a pedestrian view of the location of the new use, where the new use will be located, looking northwest along Elston Avenue. Next slide, please. And here's a photograph of the raw commercial space where the new golf zone will be located, featuring indoor golf simulators. Next slide, Emily. The economic and community benefits of the proposed amendment include a $1.1 million investment into the Logan Square community area, the build out and activation of currently vacant commercial space, the creation of approximately 75 construction jobs, the creation of approximately 15 to 20 permanent jobs, a commitment to attain the MBE, WBE, and city residency participation goals of 26%, 6%, and 50%. I would also like to mention that the applicant has received letters of support from Alderman Wagaspack and from the North Works Branch Community Organization, from Mr. Steve Simmons that spoke on the behalf of the project this morning. I want to thank you for your time today, and Connor and I stand ready to answer any questions that you may have concerning this proposed amendment, and I'll turn it back over to Emily to go over the department's recommendations. Thank you very much again.
The Department of Planning and Development has reviewed the materials submitted by the applicant and has concluded that the proposal would be appropriate for the following reasons. The proposal promotes economically beneficial development patterns that are compatible with the character of the existing neighborhood, and the proposal is compatible with the character of the surrounding area in terms of uses. Please refer to my staff report for further details on this project and plans identified here today. Based on the foregoing, the zoning administrator recommends that the application to amend Residential Business Plan Development 1420 be approved and forwarded to the City Council Committee on Zoning, Landmarks, and Building Standards as such. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thron. So for the record, Commissioners Burnett and Commissioner Nevada are here. And also, I've not seen any questions or comments coming from commissioners, but we do have Paul here from Commissioner Wagaspack's office, I believe, who's here to address this. Go ahead, Paul.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, great. Yeah, this is Paul Sajevec. I'm Alderman Wagaspack's Chief of Staff. He regrets that he's unable to attend the meeting, but he has reviewed this proposal in detail, and he supports the addition of indoor sports and recreation as a allowed use in the PD. We, as already mentioned, North Branch Works has reviewed it and is in support. And we also sent it over to the Bucktown Community Organization, and their Planning and Development Committee reviewed it and is in support as well. So if there are any questions, we're certainly happy to address them. But the Alderman requests your favorable support on this matter.
Thank you very much, Paul, and thank the Alderman. So I'm not seeing any questions. Therefore, let me request a motion on the amendment to the Residential Business Plan Development 1420 submitted by Lions Main Partners LLC for the property generally located at 1653-1739 West Webster Avenue and 2075-2189 North Elston Avenue, finding that it meets the requirements for approval.
This is Garza. I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner. Seconded by?
Tani.
Thank you, Commissioner Tunney. So let me go to the roll call vote. Commissioner Barkley,
Yes.
Commissioner Brumfeld,
Yes.
Commissioner Burnett. Commissioner Burnett,
Alderman Burnett votes yes, and Alderman Burnett is here.
thank you. We noted that for the record. Thank you. Commissioner Cordova is a yes. Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Escudero,
Yes.
Commissioner Flores,
Yes.
Commissioner Garza,
Yes.
Commissioner Lyons,
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy,
Yes.
Commissioner Novara,
Yes.
Commissioner Pinheiro,
Yes.
Commissioner Reyes,
Yes.
Commissioner Searle,
Yes.
Commissioner Tunney,
Yes.
and Commissioner Villegas. No vote on Villegas. Motion passes. Congratulations. Next item on the agenda
Thank
is D2. Was I about to hear something? Was that you, Commissioner Villegas? No. All right. The next item on the agenda is D2, a proposed Lake Michigan and Chicago Lakefront Protection Ordinance application submitted by Rush Walton LLC for the property generally located at 939 North Rush Street. The property is zoned DX7 and within the private use zone of the Lake Michigan and Chicago Lakefront Protection District. The applicant is proposing to demolish an existing three-story commercial building and construct a new two-story commercial building. LF number 763, 42nd Ward. Joshua Son will present the context overview and the applicant will present their proposal. Mr. Son.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Joshua Son with the Department of Planning and Development. Lake Michigan and Chicago Lakefront Protection Ordinance LPO application number 763 is located within the near north side community area within the 42nd Ward. The applicant, Rush Walton LLC, is here today represented by Julie Peacecheck, the general contractor for this project, along with Margaret Miser and Thomas Murphy, the legal counsel for this proposal, for the purposes of redeveloping a site within the Lake Michigan and Chicago Lakefront Protection District, pursuant to Title 16, Section 16-4-100 of the Municipal Code of Chicago.
That's correct.
The site is zoned DX-7, downtown mixed-use district, and no zoning changes are being sought. As previously stated, the site is within the private use zone of the Lake Michigan and Chicago Lakefront District. Therefore, any physical change to the property requires review and approval by the Plan Commission. The applicant proposes to demolish the existing three-story commercial building on the site and construct a new two-story commercial building. The subject site area is located in the near north side community area, where in 2020, the population was roughly 100,500 people, and where one-person households made up approximately 56.9%, the largest share of household types. The proposed site is located mid-block between East Oak Street and East Walton Street on the east side of North Rush Street. As you can see here in the fuchsia. The site is again zoned DX-7, downtown mixed-use district, and no zoning changes are being sought. Let me see. The applicant proposes to demolish the existing three-story commercial building on site and construct a new two-story commercial building. Again, you can see the location of the proposed building with the red marker. Here you can see the proposed project noted by the red circle in relation to various pedestrian and CTA connections. Here you can see Chicago Avenue, the South Street, the 156, and then the red line. The surrounding area is urban, surrounded by a high number of retail stores with glass, metal, and concrete storefronts abutting the pedestrian right-of-way. With that said, I will turn it over to Julie Peacecheck with the applicant team to discuss the public process timeline and subsequent slides.
Hi, my name is Julie Peacecheck. I work for Monteceros Corporation, the design build WBE certified general contractor for the project. We've been working with the Alderman's office and with Joshua's team to submit through this process starting in June and landing today with the Chicago Plan Commission meeting. All of the notices have been mailed, and we had a successful intake meeting at which time that we received feedback and have incorporated the comments into the design of the project. Next slide. The project is working in accordance with the Chicago Central Area Plan. It works with the pedestrian street that it stands upon and supports the retail experience within the area and creates an addition to an improvement to the hub of business that exists within the central area current planning. We can see the project is at a zero setback area. We're building property line to property line. There's a public alley to the north, and Rush Street is to our west. And we're building abutting to the existing pedestrian street. There's a two-story building on the first floor here. You can see that we're planning to improve the building with stairs going up, a decorative stair going up to the second floor, a single user bathroom. And the second floor is going to connect to a rear exit, which crosses a bridge to the rest of the building that we're building this addition to utilize a secondary stair in the rear. And we're planning to install 2 rooftop units to support the mechanical heating and cooling of the building. The north elevation of the building that faces the public alley will be comprised of Harvard brick, and we will be adding 5 light fixtures to support a nice warm atmosphere for the retail area that we are surrounded in. And the front facade of the building will be constructed with similar materials to what is in our surrounding area, comprised mainly of glass for a nice view of the retail offerings, and stone as a surround. The existing building is going to have interior roof drains that will connect to the existing sanitary, and overall approximately 34 feet, which will align with the neighboring buildings. You can see the aerial view of our building. It's located at the red dot in the center there. We're surrounded by high-rise and mid-rise and similar buildings to our height as well. You can see on our planned rendering here that we align with the top of the adjacent building that we're connecting to as an addition. And all of the horizontal features also connect in line with the surrounding buildings and features. Our site plan just shows where we are relative to the surrounding neighborhood. We have existing vehicular access that travels northbound only on Rush Street and metered street parking on both sides of the street. Our existing landscaping meets the landscape ordinance, so there will be no requested changes for that work. And our exterior features are going to have the alley light fixture that's featured in the upper left-hand corner, Harvard brick, which is down at the bottom of the photos, and then stone, which would be the stone surround. And we can just see some of the cross sections of the small parapet that runs in the front of the building up at the roof level at the front facade. And then we have recessed doors that would allow for exterior swing without impacting the pedestrian walkway.
All right, thanks, Julie.
You bet.
BPD has reviewed the project materials submitted by the applicant and has concluded that this proposal is in compliance with the applicable policies of the Lakefront Plan of Chicago and the purposes of the Lake Michigan and Chicago Lakefront Protection Ordinance as they apply to development in the private use zone. Specifically, Policy 8, increase personal safety. The proposed redevelopment will bring additional pedestrian traffic to North Rush Street by replacing a currently underutilized building and will thereby increase personal safety in the area. And Policy 14, coordinate all public and private development within the water, park, and community zones. The applicant has reviewed the proposal with the alderman and the required city agencies. Therefore, DPD recommends that this application, being in conformance with the provisions of the Lake Michigan and Chicago Lakefront Protection Ordinance, be approved, subject to compliance with the site and landscape plans and building elevations as presented to you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Joshua. So I'm not seeing any questions from commissioners. Do we have either a statement on file, or is someone here representing Alderman Riley to make a statement?
Chairwoman, this is Noah. I spoke verbally with Joanna from Alderman Riley's office yesterday, and they're in support of the project, and they declined to submit a letter.
Okay, thank you very much, Noah. So seeing no questions from the commissioners, do I have a motion on the proposed Lake Michigan and Chicago Lakefront Protection Ordinance application submitted by Rush Walton LLC for the property generally located at 939 North Rush Street, finding that it meets the requirements for approval?
So moved, Piñeiro.
Thank you, Commissioner. Seconded by?
Commissioner Searle.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, let me go to the roll call vote. Commissioner Barkley.
Yes.
Commissioner Brumfeld.
Yes.
Commissioner Burnett. Commissioner Cordova is a yes. Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Escareño.
Yes.
Commissioner Flores.
Yes.
Commissioner Garza.
Yes.
Commissioner Lyons.
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy.
Yes.
Commissioner Novara.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Piñero.
Yes.
Commissioner Reyes.
Yes.
Commissioner Searle.
Yes.
Commissioner Tunney.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if Villegas is there. Commissioner Villegas. All right, motion passes. Congratulations. Next item on the agenda is D3, a proposed amendment to commercial residential waterway plan development number 796 submitted by TCB-Lincoln Village LLC and TCB-LV GL LLC for the property generally located at 6111-6199 North Lincoln Avenue and 6231-6257 North McCormick Waterway. North McCormick. Waterway Plan Development number 796 and is currently improved with a commercial shopping center and 109 units of elderly housing. The proposed amendment is intended to allow for additional permitted uses consistent with those allowed in the underlying B3-2 zoning designation. No other changes are contemplated as a result of this application. 20851, this is in the 50th Ward. Michael Berkshire will provide the context overview and the applicant will present their proposal. Mr. Berkshire.
Good morning. For the record, my name is Michael Berkshire with the Department of Planning and Development. The applicants, TCB Lincoln Village LLC and TCB LV GL LLC, are here today to request approval of a technical amendment to Plan Development 796 to permit non-retail uses. The original plan development did not include any non-retail uses. The amendment is intended to permit non-retail uses generally available in the B32 zoning district. The property is generally located at 6111 North Lincoln Avenue in the North Park community area. The total population of the North Park community area is 17,559. The average household size is 2.6 individuals. 49.3% of the population is white, 25.2% is Asian, and 20.1% is Hispanic or Latino. The project is bordered by Lincoln Avenue to the west and south, McCormick Road to the north, and the North Central Channel to the east. This slide illustrates the zoning context. The site is surrounded by property zone B31 and PD 880 to the north, and B3-2, B1-3, B2-1, B3-3, and B1-2, and RS2 to the south and west. This slide is an aerial view from the south of PD 796, including the existing Lincoln Village Shopping Center and the senior living facility located along the North Shore Channel. Now I would like to pass it off to Mr. Steve Freeland with Applegate and Thorne Thompson to go over a few details of the proposed amendment.
Thank you, Michael. For the record, my name is Steve Friedland. I'm with the law firm of Applegate and Thorne Thompson, here representing both of the limited liability companies that own the entire shopping center. They are both controlled by Newport Capital Partners, who acquired the shopping center about 4 years ago, and came across an interesting, and oh, by the way, I should say that also I believe on the call is Amanda Jacobson, who is the Vice President of Asset Management for Newport Capital Partners. What they discovered was that the plan development, which was approved in 2001, when it was approved, and I believe, and I was not involved in the plan development, and it's obviously over 20 years old now, it appeared to be done as a plan development to allow for that senior housing use. Because I think, as many of you know, Lincoln Village Shopping Center has been around for a long time. It opened in 1951. In fact, it's one of the oldest open air malls in the country. The PD, as approved, only permitted retail uses under the B zoning district, which at the time was the B52. It is now the B3-2 district. There have been and still are numerous non-retail uses included in the plan development. Currently, there's a nail spa, there is a health center with university healthcare systems, there's a bank there, there's a physical therapy center. And when this was realized, we understood the only way to remedy this would be through an amendment to include the typical non-retail uses that would be in an open air mall. So the purpose of this is not to change anything that's going on in Lincoln Village. There's no new construction. This is simply so that to the extent there are the typical uses that would be in a mall, that those are permitted in accordance with the zoning ordinance. With that, we certainly would answer any questions, but it is a very technical change to the underlying PD that we're requesting.
Thank you, Steve. Again, for the record, Michael Berkshire from the Department of Planning and Development. The Department of Planning and Development has reviewed the project materials submitted by the applicant and has concluded that the proposed technical amendment would be appropriate for the following reasons. The proposal promotes economically beneficial development patterns that are compatible with the character of the existing neighborhood, and the proposal is compatible with the character of the surrounding area. Please refer to the staff report for further details regarding this project and the plans identified here today. Based on the foregoing, it is the recommendation of the zoning administrator of the Department of Planning and Development that this application to amend existing plan development number 796 be approved and forwarded to the City Council Committee on Zoning, Landmarks, and Building Standards. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. That was helpful. These have all been pretty straightforward. I don't have any questions from commissioners. Do we have either a statement or a letter on file from Alderman Silverstein?
Chairwoman, this is Noah again. I don't believe they submitted a letter, but I spoke to Shelley from her office and they're 100% supportive of the change.
Great. Okay, seeing no additional questions, do I have a motion on the proposed amendment to commercial residential waterway plan development number 796 submitted by TCB Lincoln Village LLC and TCB LVGL LLC for the property generally located as 6111-6199 North Lincoln Avenue and 6231-6257 North McCormick, finding that it meets the requirements for approval?
So moved by Commissioner Searle.
Thank you. Seconded by
Commissioner Flores.
Commissioner Garza. Thank you very much. Going to the roll call votes. Commissioner Barclay.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Brumfeld.
Yes.
Commissioner Burnett.
Yes.
Commissioner Cordova is a yes. Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Escareno.
Yes.
Commissioner Flores.
Yes.
Commissioner Garza.
Yes.
Commissioner Lyons.
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy.
Yes.
Novada.
Yes.
Piñero,
Yes.
Commissioner Reyes,
Yes.
Commissioner Searle, Commissioner Tunney.
Yes, sorry.
Okay, Arca, we got to vote on Commissioner Searle. Commissioner Tunney
Yes.
and Commissioner Villegas. Okay, motion
Yes.
passes.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner passes. Excuse me. The motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, thank you. Congratulations. So we're now in the section of Chairman's Update, informational presentations. We have a couple of things here. Let's start first with We Will Chicago. This is a 3-year citywide planning initiative under Mayor Laura E. Lightfoot that will encourage neighborhood growth and vibrancy while addressing social and economic inequities that impair Chicago's legacy as a global city. The Department of Planning and Development will provide an update on the We Will Chicago planning process, which will include an overview of work completed in 2021 and the upcoming work plan for 2022. Kathy Dickett will present the item. Go ahead. Mr.
Chairwoman, as we move to Kathy, I just want to ask the commissioners to bear with us a second. We moved extremely fast through those first 3 items. So we have some other city staff signing in to speak on a couple of the pillars of the plan as we move along here. So we may need to just pause slightly, but otherwise, Kathy, go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, Noah, can I share my screen?
Yep, you should be good to go.
Oh, okay, here we go. Everybody see my screen?
Yes, we can. We're just.
I apologize. Okay.
And
All right, thank
Kathy,
you.
if you don't mind, I think I'm going to speak to the first 2 slides and then I'll
Yes.
hand it over to you.
Yes.
Again, thank you, Chairwoman Cordova. And as you see, Kathy Dickett, our Deputy Commissioner, will be walking us through the presentation. But I wanted to briefly kind of preface this city's update to the update on the We Will Chicago planning process. Firstly, I should be thanking the representatives that will be joining us today from the Pillar research teams. It's a very novel and I think exciting way of bringing the community's voice into the research. But today, the plan commissioners are going to hear a lot about what's been accomplished from the 7 pillars since the city's last presentation in March of 2021, and also where the process will be heading in the upcoming months as the community engagement broadens and ramps up. I think the presentation today will help clarify how the process is working collaboratively with a wide range of community voices at the table, and how the collaboration is providing a foundation for additional engagement and discussion that ultimately will lead to what will be Chicago's first citywide plan in more than 2 generations. Kathy, if you can go to the map.
Do you see it?
Yeah, it's moving very slowly, but that's fine. Of course, at its most basic level, a city plan it's a roadmap that guides the policies and establishes strategies that help the city meet its stated goals. And we're doing this now because of the fundamental inequities that have long been evolving in Chicago, especially during our lifetime. The commission has seen these maps before, but they really help to illustrate why this planning process is so necessary now. You can clearly see the wealth gaps that have been allowed to occur at the neighborhood level since the last citywide plan was done in the 1960s. It shows more wealth on the north side and downtown, and less on the west and southwest and south sides. So these maps are based on household incomes. but they're a pretty succinct reflection of some of the broader disparities that hundreds of thousands of Chicagoans are facing every day, including access to housing, education, jobs, health, transportation, and other resources that could be available, really should be available to all residents. So regardless of their race and their neighborhood. So the beauty of planning is this. The same policies that created this map can redraw the map fundamentally, and especially under Mayor Lightfoot, who is absolutely resolved to equitable and resilient framework that restores Chicago's legacy as really the country's most livable big city. So with that, I'd like to have Deputy Commissioner Kathy Dickett take over and continue the presentation. Kathy?
Thank you, Commissioner. And so just let me know the slides are moving slowly, apparently, and if you have a problem hearing me. But given that background, that is why We Will is founded on the two principles of equity and resiliency. And equity, as defined by this city, is both an outcome and a process that results in just and fair access to resources and opportunities so everyone can thrive. And resiliency is the ability of individuals or groups to thrive despite the stresses, which climate change being one, upon us, obstacles and setbacks. So these are the two founding principles. We have 5 process themes, and these are historical reckoning, because it's crucial to understand the legacies of past plans and the policies that have harmed communities, as the commissioner pointed out. Since equity is a principle, one of our themes is how are we going to measure the impacts of equity? How can we ensure we're achieving equity? And we are working closely with our Department of Public Health on a health and racial impact assessment tool. Accessible and meaningful community engagement. And that is one of the main things we want to share with you today through some of the partners that are engaged. Accountability through metrics that we all share so we can hold government and ourselves responsible to the actions that we've committed to. And then interagency and cross collaboration. So we also have today some of our other department members who are co-chairs as part of this process. Excuse me. So we have 7 pillars, which we are working on, and we will go more into that as we proceed. So how are we doing this? We have spoken to you twice before, and we spoke to you back in 2020 in the fall. And that is when we had focus groups and we worked with Metropolitan Planning Council to establish those pillars and things. We saw other cities with many ways to set up a citywide plan, but we wanted to get input beyond people at City Hall as to what those themes should be and what should we be discussing in each one of those pillars. So we started in 2021 with a deeper engagement and with pillar research teams and with artist organizers holding events in the community. And I'm going to go into how we selected those research teams. This is where we are right now. The research teams have been working since July of last year, and we finished their work in June. And we are now moving into a stage of talking about policies by each pillar. And then next year, we will be back with a final policy plan. I should mention, excuse me, going back by June, we intend to have a draft policy plan to share with a very broad public. And then coming back next year with all of that input into a plan. So this is the structure that we're working on right now, or we're working in, I should say. We have an advisory committee. And we have 7 pillar research teams. Each team has volunteers, community partners, co-chairs, and city and sister agencies. And each team is supported by consultants that help us with the research, consultants that facilitate many, many meetings. We also have documenters at each of these meetings, and that information is published on our website. So if people were so inclined, they could read about what's happening in each of these meetings. And we have artists. So I'm going to give you a little information on the groups that I've highlighted here in blue. So volunteer. So back in May of last year, we did an open call for people to participate in this initiative. So we had 323 applications for volunteers. So volunteers are doing that. They're volunteering their time. Some are individuals, some are from organizations, and they're volunteering to sit in a meet, to participate in a meeting. We have meetings every month by pillar. And you can see here on the left some of the demographics of the people that are represented in these, the 115 volunteers. And then you can see on the right, the zip code where they're from. So we have, pretty good distribution. The darker the purple, and you can see the numbers, are the number of individuals from those individuals or organizations representatives in each area. We also wanted to involve community partners. And by community partners, we are really, we're focusing on nonprofit organizations, mostly in a neighborhood-based capacity, and usually with a smaller budget, right? With these organizations, it's harder for them to participate in an initiative like this, just because they don't have the staff or they don't have the budget to allow for them to take that kind of time. So you can see on the, we had 171 applications, and we could only select 25. And I do want to thank the Chicago Community Trust here for actually doubling the amount of partners that we put initially forward. So they're supporting half of these volunteers. And so you can see on the left, the organizations that are participating, and on the right, where they are based. And so what they do, they have a stipend. So they are, we're paying for them to participate with a staff member in all the meetings. And they are holding meetings in their areas or with their constituencies to describe, to get people familiar with what the work is about and where we're going. And so some of those meetings have already been held, and more will be held up into June. We also, working closely with our partner department, the Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events, hired 7 artist organizer teams and mobile artist team to be out in the neighborhoods, engaging individuals, starting to find out how can we, what kinds of activities are really engaging to people out in the community? How do we best want to get a really broad public involved? And we will be using some of these ideas as we move forward. I should also note that 10 of the artists are on the research team. So not only, were they doing activities, but they're bringing their perspectives on both engagement and bringing an artist sensibility to the planning process as part of the policy discussion. So what are we doing? What is the work? What is the work then, and how are we doing it now? We started with guiding questions. So each pillar established guiding questions, and then for each guiding question, they're establishing objectives. And then now we are in the discussion of how do we want to do that? So if we've got these objectives, what's the policy, what's the action that we think will achieve those goals? So that's where we are right now. You can see on the far right, we have done a survey, an initial survey. We plan to do another one soon, and then really want to go very broadly this summer. Just a couple words on how it's used. So as we said in the beginning, a citywide plan, and in a lot of cities. So what it's used for, how do we align your annual budgets and the projects and the policies with a citywide plan. Ensure more equitable development, that's a principle, a foundation of the plan. Establish standards for neighborhood plans. We do a lot of planning in the department, as do others, but we do not have standards for actually what should come to plan commission, what should be engagement, which gets down, how should we best do that? Create standards for public decision-making. There's a lot of discussion about that. And again, include communities in development planning. And that again gets to how do we engage communities in the work that we do, and then to inform land use and zoning decisions. So this is where these are the things that the plan should impact. As we move forward. So engagement, and now hopefully we do have a number of our pillar representatives here. We did call them a little quicker than we thought. But we thought the best way to really talk about engagement is to have the people engaged talk about their participation in these research pillars and what, well, we want to know what they think about it, where they think it's going. So at this point, I'm going to turn the slide here before I introduce Melanie. I just want to point out that the pictures you're going to see for each of these pillars are based on the activities. I'm just seeing who's there. On the activities that happened this summer and fall with the artist organizers. So we'll have one of these. You can look at the slide while our co-chairs speak. We have 2 co-chairs per pillar. And you can see what kinds of activities were happening in the summer and fall. So Melanie, I believe you are here, and if Noah can let her speak. Each one is going to speak to maybe about 2 minutes just to what's happening in their pillar and whatever else they'd like to say. So Melanie Wong is a volunteer and is available.
Good morning, everyone. Hello. Thank you so much for the introduction, Kathy. I'm Melanie Wong, volunteering with the Arts and Culture Pillar. It's been my great pleasure to serve in this role alongside Commissioner Aaron Harkey. I'd like to also acknowledge an incredible group of volunteers, a diverse mix of artists, practitioners, educators, and community builders in our own right that have really lent their both experienced and diverse perspectives to this work. So since we started, again, this is an engagement program that we've taken as a real and serious commitment. There's an understanding that the arts and culture community and part of Chicago is more than simply a beautification, a decorative or add-on element of Chicago's culture. It is something that is deserving as an integral part of policy, which we also have seen in practice with the artist organizers who've been involved in this work. But also we see this as a unique opportunity to reinforce this as well. So our organization, as a group, we've been working closely to do deep research on the way that the artist community in Chicago, as well as artist organizations, contribute to jobs, employment, quality of life, and also directly can benefit the whole of Chicago. But despite us, the arts being a centerpiece of the city, the resources, infrastructure, and equitable access to both of those have not been as easily accessed or equitably distributed. And this was a lesson that was learned by arts practitioners and arts educators very deeply, particularly in the past 2 years. So what we found in our priorities in the guiding objectives we've put together so far is really thinking about bringing more equitable resources so more communities can benefit from the arts, and a very clear recognition that creators, residents, our own neighbors are ones who are directly contributing to the livelihoods of Chicago's communities through the arts. So we have that reflected throughout our objectives and what we have outlined so far. We also recognize that there's some unique opportunities with the mayor already investing a significant increase in arts investment committed as of this year and forward. We know that there's a number of department and agency level work that we think that what we're doing can directly plug into. And particularly relevant for this group, there's been a vocal interest in more opportunities like this. How can people throughout Chicago be more directly involved in engagement that informs resources? In a way, decentralizing so that resources aren't just coming from the top, decided by a very centralized and limited few, but with more resources, how can we have the people who are more directly impacted by funding decisions be more active in the process? Happy to share more, but that's kind of a quick run through of where we are so far. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Melanie. Now we're going to go in alpha order. So we're going to do economic development with our co-chair, Tina Merritt from the ACP.
And I want to remind you too, Kathy, remind the team too about the time frame. But so just keep going, Kathy. Sorry.
Okay.
Am I okay to go at this
Yes,
point?
yes,
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Chairwoman Cordova and the DPD team, Commissioner Cox, as well as Kathy for inviting us here today. My name is Kenya Merritt. I am the Chief Small Business Officer here with the Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection. And I'm proud to represent the Economic Development Pillar, which is co-chaired by myself along with Lynette McCrae. And I just want to briefly touch on the process of engagement, which has been unprecedented when you talk about citywide plans. We started this work during the summer of 2021, and the participants of our working group are diverse in many ways that extends not only with identity, but beyond that, with thoughts, with lived experiences. And so because of that, that helps to have a robust conversation when we come together as a working group to develop our goals and our objectives. And I would say that for the first time, that these working groups truly reflect the diversity of Chicago's residents. Our working group participants are rooted and grounded in the transformation of our city and for the betterment of all of Chicagoans, and have been forthcoming and authentic in their sharing, and the participation of our working group and the prompts that we've had for these conversations have been incredibly helpful in gathering feedback and gathering their thoughts. And some of the themes that have arisen during our conversations have included exploring areas that are incredibly important to creating vibrancy for all of our communities in Chicago. And they include business development, workforce, ownership, wealth creation, and the quality of life for communities and populations that have not traditionally been reflective in previous plans. And then just finally, going beyond just ideas on the paper with objectives and goals, our work group is very much committed to exploring implementation, who owns these goals, who's responsible for implementing them, and most importantly, being accountable for implementation. And so that this work extends beyond the document, but is very much in the forefront of the work that we do on a daily basis. So again, thank you, Chairwoman Cordova, DPD, as well as City Council for taking the time out to hear us today.
Thank you, Kenya.
Thank you, Kenya. Environment, Climate, and Energy, and Angela Tovar. Angela, I believe you are here. Oh, yeah, there you are.
I am on. Thanks, Kathy, and thank you to the Plan Commission for the opportunity to share more detail about our pillar. I'm Angela Tovar. I'm the Chief Sustainability Officer for the Mayor's Office, and I am co-leading this pillar with Ayana Simba of the Illinois Environmental Council. And I too just want to take a moment here to acknowledge, our incredible dedicated volunteers, our research team, our community partners, our artists and residents, and city staff who are working to develop the environment, climate, and energy pillar. This pillar is intended to address the impact of pollution and climate change on Chicago, along with the advancement of energy and environmental resources and environmental justice principles to help residents and businesses mitigate and protect against the negative impacts. And our goals are many. We have a goal of prioritizing climate resiliency efforts, particularly in communities that are most vulnerable to climate change, to incorporate environmental justice principles and prioritize resource distribution to reverse historic disinvestment and environmental degradation in underserved communities, to activate more circular systems that prioritize recycling and reduction and new economic opportunities, to incorporate nature-based solutions and to prioritize conservation, and finally, to eliminate harmful sources of emissions that are causing the climate crisis globally. The highlight for this team has truly been the intersectional nature of this effort, to reach the environmentally sustainable and resilient city that we envision. We have to, as a pillar, set goals that touch on our food, our waste, our water, transportation, energy, and building systems. And another thing that I want to highlight is that we are identifying holistic, equitable solutions, and that starts first with prioritizing communities who are on the front lines of the climate crisis, right? Those who neighborhood residents are most vulnerable to the impacts of climate change, and those who have been historically environmentally overburdened here in the city of Chicago. And I would say in terms of challenges of that, there is a suite of policy and strategic recommendations that are coming from this pillar. This is going to require action by the city, our sister agencies, and at the county, state, and federal level as well. And that alignment and coordination at all levels will be critical for the advancement of these policies. And I'm very confident in our team and our ability to outline this roadmap and to advance recommendations to mitigate our ongoing environmental issues and to advance an equitable climate future for the city of Chicago. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Our next, housing and neighborhoods. Yes, and Cindy, I believe, is here. Hello, our co-chair from the Department of Housing.
Hi, good morning. I am here. Hello, everyone. Good morning, Plan Commissioners. My name is Cindy Soto. I'm Managing Deputy Commissioner at the Chicago Department of Housing. And I'm very, very happy to be sharing with you a little bit about the work that's been happening with the housing and neighborhood pillar. I've had the honor of co-chairing the pillar with Jessie Wang, a researcher and advocate for fair housing and a resident of Chicago. The membership body of the pillar, like the others that you've heard, is made up of diverse racial and ethnic backgrounds and professions. And the members are always ready to ideate and analyze as a collective. And they do so very productively, showing up to every meeting, the last 9 meetings, ready to dive deep into the questions and the exercises that we put forward. As a pillar group in the past 9 meetings, we have gathered survey responses from residents, designed guiding questions, objectives, and are preparing to put together policy recommendations. And we do this work through a racial equity lens. We look at how to foster connected, resilient, and sustainable neighborhoods, how to preserve and increase the number and types of affordable, quality, and accessible housing options, how to develop uniform community-centered decision-making and deepen the engagement to address neighborhood issues while ensuring transparency and accountability to communities. We have also heard from community leaders who are currently making an impact, like the artists and organizers through the Honey Pot Performance Organization and representatives from PICO, the housing co-op in Pilsen. The housing and neighborhood pillar also gives me an opportunity to share what DOH is doing that would complement their work in the future. So talking about the racial equity impact assessment or our inclusionary housing task force report. In all, we have been working very hard to contribute to this very important plan, and we wouldn't be able to do this without the support of residents and each of the organizations that represent our housing and neighborhood pillar. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Cindy. And we do have a pillar, lifelong learning. I don't know if Mark Potter has made it on yet. If
He's here,
not-
Kathy. Yes,
What?
he's here.
Yes, I'm
Oh,
here.
great.
Yep.
Mark, this is, turn it over.
Okay. So good morning, everyone. Mark Potter, City Colleges of Chicago. I'm here representing the lifelong learning pillar. I want to start by sharing a little bit about sort of what we're aiming to achieve, and that's to seek. We're seeking strategies and policies that will connect Chicagoans to learning opportunities across the lifespan, from early childhood into and through adulthood, for the purposes of economic mobility, community connectedness, engagement, and enhancing quality of life for Chicagoans. I do want to express appreciation for some aspects of this project that I think have worked really well from the vantage point of this pillar. The scaffolded approach that has been shared with you already, where we have begun with guiding questions and moving on to objectives and then policies, I think has yielded some really productive conversation, dialogue, and ideas in our pillar team, at least. The research teams have brought context, data, and ideas from other planning exercises that have been, again, incredibly helpful for informing our conversations. And I really want to give a shout out to the amazing work of the artists who were assigned to this pillar for lifelong learning, who have remained engaged with the pillar team even after their work in deliberate community engagement or strategic community engagement has come, to its end. So the team has worked very, very well together. What has really stood out to me as a highlight that I want to share with people is as has been mentioned already, kind of the intersection between our work and the work of other pillar teams, especially as I understand the framing in areas that have tremendous potential to lead to strengthened, healthy, and engaged communities, where we can see, I think, at the end of this exercise, some strategies and policies and insights into how we can build community connectedness, strong civic health within communities. We've been talking in the lifelong learning team about hubs for learning and engagement, which will, in the end, I think, when we blend that with the transportation strategies, the parks strategies, the economic mobility strategies, lead to greater connectedness in our communities and that strong sense of community engagement.
Thank you, Mark. Moving on to Public Health and Safety, Kate Mcmahon from the Department of Public Health.
Good morning, Chairwoman Cordova, commissioners, our colleagues at DPD. Thanks for including us today. For the record, my name is Kate Mcmahon. I work for the Chicago Department of Public Health, and I'm the Public Health Co-Chair for the Public Health and Public Safety Research Team. And also, I want to acknowledge that while I'm speaking with you here today, I really represent our entire pillar team, a group of dynamic volunteers, community leaders, artists, organizers, public and private sector partners, and it has been such an honor and a joy to work and learn alongside them these past several months. I'd like to highlight some of the exciting things happening in our pillar team. And to do that, I first want to talk about the process. So I think we talk a lot about equity being a process in addition to an outcome. And as a process, it means a different way of working. And I have to tell you, it is so exciting to experience the collaboration that is happening between community leaders, government partners, artists, organizers in our pillar team. We are really finding that pillar team members are challenging and redesigning the process in ways that helps our facilitation team improve how we show up together, share information, really format our discussions. And also I would just reflect on, there's been a real sense of commitment and thoughtfulness in the teamwork that has evolved over the past several months as well. And then some of the other co-chairs of the pillar teams have indicated, our goals and objectives are many. And really they're intersectional with the other pillar teams. But what I think I would offer you that is the consistent theme across all of what is emerging for us is that our team recognizes that in order to advance our vision of an equitable and healthy Chicago, the work is going to require ongoing collaboration. Cross-sector partners, a whole of government approach really mobilized to support and advance community-led strategies. And then I was also asked to reflect on challenges. I would say from a content perspective, it is challenging to communicate that many of the things that contribute to health and safety are outside of or beyond what many people typically think of for health and safety. So the communications piece has been challenging for our team. And then from a process perspective, we have seen a bit of a decline in the number of participating pillar members. And I know that that's something that we've reflected on as a team, and also the entire planning team is reflecting on as well, because we know we want to continue to support robust community engagement.
Thank you, Kate. And is Melvin on?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Good.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Melvin Thompson. I'm the executive director of the Angeleo Institute. We're the nonprofit community development arm of Trinity United Church of Christ in the Washington Heights community. I also am honored to serve as a co-chair for the Transportation and Infrastructure Pillar for We Will Chicago, and it's been an amazing journey. I am so appreciative. I'm not sure who was behind the decision-making to place me in that position, but given the fact that our mission is to revitalize our 95th Street corridor, the Red Line extension is obviously the 800-pound elephant in the room, and we all are, really clamoring for that to happen because it has a direct impact on the work that we're doing along the 95th Street corridor. So I'm just appreciative, and I think the first thing that comes to mind in terms of really positives is the deference that has been shown to me and other community members, incredibly just bending over backwards to make sure that our voices are heard and that we have great influence into the guiding questions that eventually lead to the objectives. In fact, we've actually not moved as fast as we could have because we've been really, wrestling with some of the objectives because transit and infrastructure are obviously the buzzwords across the country today, and we're seeing it, tenfold in our community. We have multiple projects going along the 95th Street corridor, either planned or in process. So it means a great deal to us. And so to have that voice and to be actually received the way we are is tremendous. But I'd be remiss not to mention that there is an element that I've shared with the group, that what is happening in real time around transit and infrastructure is not being weighed in a way that I think it should be, because there are things, and pardon me for being so specific, but my co-chair, Jamie Simone, who represents the Chicago Department of Transportation, has been fantastic, but her department is actually leading a CREATE project. And I don't know if everyone's familiar, but we have an at-grade project at the corner of 95th and Eggleston to remove the at-grade crossing there. And it's going to entail massive demolition of 4 blocks of our community. And that is an untenable situation. And so while we're, really kind of pining for all of these wonderful objectives and, this kind of utopian type of future, there's some things that are happening in real time that need to be addressed right now, or what we're doing in the future will fly in the face of what's happening now. It's wonderful to anticipate and be at the table talking about what the future should look like, but we don't want to be simultaneously bulldozed in our community. And I should mention that our organization is working on a neighborhood development project under the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund in the exact footprint of the demolition that is earmarked for that area. So are the departments talking to each other? It's a historic reckoning that I'm talking about. I mean, demolition, just mentioning that in the Black community, we have suffered greatly from that. And so for that to even be an option or an alternative is just something that we need to put the brakes on right now, because that, is disingenuous for me as a community leader to represent my constituents and to say that, okay, this is happening in our community, and but I'm on this panel and we're trying to reconcile the future. So I'd really like to see more weight or maybe even a moratorium in place for things that are happening now. And I would imagine that we're not the only community where things are happening in real time that run counter to what we're planning. So I hope.
Thank you, Melvin, for really pointing out the challenges that we have in terms of looking at the future and dealing with issues today. Thank you for that.
And excuse me, as Commissioner Biaggi, Melvin, we're happy to connect you with the team offline about this one. And in fact, we actually have 6 different alternatives. So not to worry, we care very much about making sure that we keep communities whole and also do our job to connect them, right? And get the trains out of the way of pedestrians and bikes. So we're with you. Don't worry, we'll connect offline and talk about it.
Thank you much.
Thank you, Commissioner Biaggi. And
I see a hand from Commissioner Burnett. I think, Commissioner, I'm going to go ahead and let the last, how many more speakers, Kathy?
just 2.
All right, is that okay, Commissioner Burnett, if we let them finish and then I'll come back to you? Okay, go ahead, Kathy.
Okay, and now it's for Katya Nukas, who's a community partner and on the advisory committee. Katya?
Thank you, Kathleen, and good morning, everybody. Chairwoman Cordova and the commissioners and everybody, the partners in this initiative. I'm excited to be here talking about our participation. I'm one of the co-chairs, but as Kathleen pointed out, also a community partner representing Enlace and hopefully bringing the voice of community residents, particularly from the Little Village community. As you know, in Little Village, there's a high percentage of undocumented individuals and also monolingual community residents of the city of Chicago. So these have been 2 very important things for me to highlight while we talk about community engagement. As Katie pointed out, there have been a number of elements that we have used to make sure that there's high community involvement in the plan. All the activities the artists have been engaging on. Of course, the pillars have also been, carefully formed with, that goal. The other thing that we have been doing is community engagement activities in the form of focus groups. I have to thank the Metropolitan Planning Council for both putting together the Meeting in a Box tool and for training us all in the use of that. And we also have translated the materials completely into Spanish so that we can use them, effectively when we are doing this at the community level. One of the reasons that I was so excited to be part of this planning process is because I have this dream, right? That in the city of Chicago, our neighborhood plans actually align with the city plan. And since we haven't done this in so many years, in so long, that didn't exist before, right? With what plan were we going to align? But now that we're going to have a plan that is going to be brought in terms of policies and initiatives, there's so much potential opportunities for our neighborhood plans to be aligned with that. And that's why, to me, it's so important to bring the voices of our community into this. So we have conducted a couple of focus groups in Little Village, completely in Spanish, because we have, targeted monolingual community residents. Most of the, actually, all women participated that in our plan were actually community health promoters that have been very engaged in the conversation about public health and safety. So our meetings with them were amazing. A lot of them brought so many issues that were related to access to health in general, physical health, mental health, the fact that we have a rich community in terms of the presence of healthcare providers in Little Village doesn't actually paint the complete picture, right? We still have enormous lines when it comes to, going to specialists, when it comes to access. Many times community members are actually like dropped down from eligibility list based on income, based on different, based on different reasons. So all of the conversations that we had in these couple of focus groups for a number of hours were extremely rich. One of the things that I want to highlight is that not only we are trying to bring all of, that rich information and opinions and ideas from the community to our plan, But in those conversations, it also informs us, right? Like me as an executive director of a community-based organization, because of the rich conversation that we had, and that, you know, mainly like about access when it comes to healthcare, we're actually going to have a partnership with community health and open up a clinic for everybody that is completely free at Enlace's facilities in the near future. So I'm very, very glad to be able to inform that at the same time that we continue to conduct the community focus groups that are going to be happening until the end of February and probably reactivated in the summer.
Thank you, Katja. And one of the things that she mentioned was meeting in a box. And I'm just going to have Chloe and the speakers with a little bit about that, which we, DPD, has been working with, and we will also use as we move forward. So Chloe, quickly.
Yep. Thank you, Kathy. Good morning, everyone. Chloe Gernsands with the Metropolitan Planning Council. So MPC and the city, as Kathy mentioned, have created this meeting in a box toolkit, which allows any organization to host a stakeholder meeting about We Will Chicago. The toolkit includes background information about We Will Chicago, a facilitator guide and script, and interactive materials for leading that presentation and discussion. In November, we hosted a facilitator training for organizations and individuals who wanted to test this meeting in a box by hosting a meeting within their own networks to give input on the pillar areas and the guiding questions. As of the end of January, 20 plus organizations have hosted their own meetings with more than 100 people attending those meetings. The participant surveys so far have shown that these meetings have increased participant understanding of the citywide plan and the goals and objectives of the plan, and increased their trust and desire to engage with We Will Chicago. After the last meetings that are wrapping up this month are complete and all of the feedback is analyzed, the next steps are for the meeting in a box to be updated to use more broadly, to continue to gather feedback on the draft framework that will be released in the summer. Thank you. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Chloe. And that ends our speakers. And I will just add the slide here is just, so we are trying to make planning accessible, and you've heard about that. These are just some of the activities we'll finish through June, and then July through November, we really intend on going very, very broad across the city.
So Kathy, they can go to the website to get more information?
Oh, yes, We Will Chicago.
Okay.
Type in We Will Chicago and it will come up. And much of what we've talked about today, if you're interested in how, Melvin, how was I selected? Well, that whole process is there. So everything is on the website, and that is our, you can find everything you would like there.
Thank you,
So,
Kathy. We really appreciate this. Appreciate all the speakers.
Commissioner.
The community representative, and I'm going to go to you, Commissioner Burnett. So thank you, Ms. Duckett. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. I apologize. You know, I'm on a budget, a finance committee meeting at the same time, and I'm sitting up here feeling like I'm a DJ. You know, going from going from computer to computer, turning them up, turning them down,
You've always got those music metaphors, don't you? Right?
I feel like I'm scratching and mixing over here. But anyway.
Do you have a comment?
So I apologize.
Okay. All right.
Yes. Yeah, so one, I want to commend everybody who's been involved. I love the engagement of everyone in the community and all of the advisory committees on this. I think this is so holistic. I think this is great. You know, one of the things that Kathy, one of the things I want to see, how does this relate to a central area plan, right? Is this like a broader central area plan? Or, you know, I know this is more holistic than a central area plan, but I just wanted to just ask that question.
Yes, I can respond to that, Chairman. We have had that discussion. Actually, we are in the midst of that discussion, both internally with staff here and also with some people that have been asking the same question. And it's it is a whole citywide plan, and we know that we haven't had a lot of discussions about the central area, and we will intend to go that route coming from, let's just say that we want to start the central area discussion based on these principles, which is a different approach than coming from, the central area as the key. Not that central area is the key of the economic driver. I think we all understand that, but we want to bring the two things together. And I believe we are starting to look at how to start those conversations this summer. So they're not, this is meant to be the whole city, and the principles apply to the whole city. And then how do those principles apply to an update to the central area plans that we've done? And so that's what we will do.
And I appreciate that, Kathy. And, quite honestly, what we encourage and do in the central area should be reflected across the city, because every area of the city can be good for economic development. And definitely the city is in competition with other cities for population. And we need to encourage more density and population, not just in the central area, but all over the city of Chicago, in order to help us to be able to sustain and be competitive and attract amenities to the city of Chicago, not just downtown, not just in the central area, but all over the city of Chicago. So I commend you all on doing this. And I think hopefully those kind of things would be in as part of your plan, so people can have a bigger vision of how a city sustain themselves and how we balance out everybody participating in the taxes that we pay, and how more transportation help with job opportunities and businesses coming to a community, not just downtown. I think this is wonderful to get everybody to recognize and see those things. So congratulations, keep up the good work, Kathy. You're a superstar in my eyes. Appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions from commissioners?
So Commissioner Chairwoman Cordova, I would like to comment, because I appreciated the alderman's highlighting the connection between downtown and neighborhoods, and that we have to we have to understand how the central area works, even sometimes as a model for neighborhoods. People expect the central area to be dense, diverse, 24/7, live, work, play environment that has wholly embraced density. But then when we go to our neighborhoods, we don't always see the corollary between that. So, in a city that historically had neighborhood downtowns that were dense, that had cultural offerings, that had locals serving amenities, had a variety of housing, we've lost some of that, or we don't have it distributed evenly. So I was just reminded of Butler Adams' comments about how do we encourage the appropriately scaled neighborhood density with across our 77 community areas. And I think that this is something that will allow us to have that conversation with residents. And then there are specific benefits to the central area and policy vehicles that were created that have a direct correlation and benefit to neighborhoods. And I think about the neighborhood opportunity bonus as a model. Every time we promote density downtown, we are promoting Black and brown businesses in the West and South Side. So you have to keep those two things in close view of each other, because they are complementary and reciprocal. And so I appreciate the Alderman just reminding us of the important linkage between the central area and our neighborhoods as we plan We Will Chicago.
So go ahead, Commissioner Searle. I'll hold my question for a minute. Go ahead, Commissioner.
I was thinking that it might be really helpful in the final document, or however this is produced, digitally or on paper or whatever, if we had all the references for all of the neighborhood plans that are in existence, and also all of the policies that we have, because then maybe those connections, especially like, let's say it's, transit-oriented development, we can look at those things as part of the big picture. At the same time, we're looking at the neighborhoods. So I think if we can visualize all those things at once, and at least in a document reference them, that would really help, get these ideas together.
It's a great point, Commissioner. Thank you. Commissioner Pinheiro.
Yes, maybe Commissioner Cox or somebody in the planning team, if they can help me. I mean, I'm not surprising, but certainly struck by the plan of disparity that is the opening of the presentation, and we should all be struck by that, even though we're not, probably most of us, not surprised. But quick question for you in terms of the scope and timing as this develops. I'm assuming this probably is kind of very long-term goals, but also some intermediate milestones and goals that we want to accomplish in the more near term. Can you speak a little bit about those, how that process is supposed to be phased and how the impact is supposed to be felt and seen by the communities over maybe some medium-term or shorter-term horizons?
I'm going to let Kathy respond to that, but I will tell you that whether it's in the Department of Transportation or Department of Housing or DCASE or DPD, we are using our current mandate and directive from the mayor to practice and implement as we plan. So we're not waiting to implement these ideas around equity and resiliency so after the project is adopted. And you could just think of some of the rather bold initiatives that departments have taken, like Commissioner Navarro's $1 billion of affordable housing, creating $1 billion of affordable housing pipeline. That is speaking already to what we are hearing from the community that feels that housing choice should be widely available across the entire city. The mayor's Invest Southwest that is trying to reinvest in areas that have historically been disinvested anticipates this whole question of what does equity look like in the short term. But if we do not embed these ideas into policy long term, these initiatives will only last as long as an administration lasts and champions it. So what we're trying to do is get these ideas that I think really allow us to map the city in a more equitable and resilient manner, embedded into public policy that everyone buys into. So, I mean, that's how.
Can I, if you could, I just want to keep it rolling because we're at the hour mark on this conversation.
Kathy, did you want to?
I think the only thing I would add to that quickly is that, yes, we are doing while planning, as the saying goes. I would say the open application process was something we've never done before. And we modeled it on something DOH had done earlier. But we do look at the 60s plan, which had 2 documents, a process that was multi-year. It had a policy plan, which is that's what we're working on now. And then after that, there was another process on how do you implement these policies. So I think, this will be, here are the big ideas, here's what we want to do. And then we have to continue as to how do we actually, besides doing them, embed them for the future in whatever regulations or whatever we need to do.
That was my question, Kathy. And I see that Commissioner Reyes has her hand up, so I want to call upon her and any other commissioners that want to speak. But my question, because I know this is, as presented to us, it's a statement of values and sort of desired outcomes. And I'm wondering how much of it is tied to land use, how much of it is, how detailed are the implementation steps? So there's the articulation of the values, there's the statements maybe about what it might take to get to those values, but how detailed are those steps and the implementation strategies?
Well, right now we're working more on what you're talking about, more of the details. And what I would suspect is more, here are the details, here's how we'd like to go. But all of those would require, I mean, many of those would require an ordinance change or some other type of thing to enact, which is then sets up a whole nother process. My experience with some past plans is, here's what we want to do. Sell land to neighbors in the greater Englewood. Okay, now we actually have to develop the program, the policy, the regulations to do that. So there will be many of those types of ideas, which we will then have to really, how do we do that? What is the structure? Who does that? Is that required an ordinance? That kind of work.
And that will happen when this is complete.
So when this is complete, it will give us, let's just say, a list of all those things that we need to now work out in detail. Like, for example, standards for plan. This is what they should be. Maybe that's something that we, again, take the plan commission. These are the standards for plan. Whether or not that needs an ordinance, I don't know that yet. We don't know that yet. But we will get ideas for that. But of course, it'll have to be one plan can't adopt all of these things and through regulation. We will have to follow up with many different types of things.
And that's when the really, really hard work comes in, because that gets very detailed, very technical. And so, first of all, I think it's fantastic to have so much community participation even here today presenting to us. And I think the articulation of community values and goals, I think is really important. You're right, it's a first step, a very important first step. But I'm really struck by Mr. Thompson's comments about what happens in the meantime, what's happening in the meantime. And so I think that's something to keep in the forefront, because, we're talking about, taking 3 years to articulate values, and then how many more years then to articulate what are the implementation strategies to achieve those values. And meanwhile, as Mr. Thompson has pointed out, there are all these other things happening, and specific to what he's talking about, he's got some specific comments, but he also made mention that it's probably not just unique to his neighborhood. So, and it's probably just not unique to transportation. So I would encourage, and I would hope that DPD is going to be paying close attention to, as this process unfolds and we move to the next step, what is it going to take to be implementing those values on a day-to-day, as day-to-day as ongoing decisions are made that maybe have impacts counter to what some of those values are. What's going to happen to ensure that there are not a lot of irreversible actions that are counter to those values? Because to that extent, then it's kind of all for naught in a sense. But congratulations, and let me turn to Commissioner Reyes, and you'll probably have the last word on this before we go to our next item. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Chairwoman. First of all, I want to congratulate all of you. I mean, this is an amazing model for community engagement. I wish I would have loved to see more, the numbers being higher in terms of the volunteers representing the community, and in particular the Latino community, of course. But I truly, truly appreciate the effort and the discipline, especially looking at the fact that during most of this time, we've been going through COVID, and so I value that. My question is a little bit along the lines of what Chairwoman Dr. Cordova just mentioned, which is these 3 years has been kind of the putting a vision of these goals, of this ideal city that you would like to see with this impacting all these 77 neighborhoods. Is there any thinking or conversation at the same time in terms of financing? Are we already looking into that? Because we can end up with plans that I don't think the purpose of this exercise is to end up with plans that are just going to go to a nice bookshelf, right? The idea is to truly execute, right? To build the buildings, to build the park, to create the commercial strips that we need to add transportation. So are there conversations about the financing? And because I think it's important, and also land use, building code, because I mean, it's going to take time, but I will appreciate if there is any comments in terms of that.
I would have two responses to that. everybody, yes, there are conversations about financing and projects. In fact, everybody wants to get there, and it's been a struggle to like, wait, really, let's be intentional about what we're trying to do. And I would say, and I'm sure the commissioner can say more, but the Chicago Community Recovery Plan and actions of the city now, of the department, are doing those kinds of things. So the priorities for the new federal money, many of those, in fact, probably all of those, are reflections of what we're seeing in these discussions and in these objectives. Commissioner?
And I would just add, Kathy, that the obviously the American Recovery dollars allow us over the next 3 years to live our values and to fund these efforts in a way. I think it's a once in a generation opportunity. And that just happened to be, we benefit from timing there. But also the hope is that these policy documents will then be the guiding document for City Council to make decisions annually on their budgets. So currently we have no guiding North Star. It's, every year it's a new set of directions. Here we will have a policy document that should be able to guide City Council decisions, and that involves questions of land use as well as allocation of resources across the city. So we have opportunity to make an impact financially because of this once opportunity with the American Recovery Plan, but then ultimately that annual budget process will be informed by a citywide plan. That's the aspiration.
All right, well, thank you very much. We're going to go ahead and wrap up this item and go to our final item. So this is an announcement. I think commissioners know about this. When my predecessor, Martin Cabrera, came in, when he was commissioner, one of the chair of the commission, one of the things he did is many things, right? He oversaw in his tenure. But one of the things that I really appreciate is that he established this criteria and this monitoring for the MBEs and WMBEs, and that remains today. When Mayor Lightfoot came into office, she put forward my name to finish his term, and that term expired on January 20th of this year. So this is my last commission meeting. In addition, last month was Smita Shah's commission meeting and has already stepped down as both a member of the commission and as vice chair of the commission. Laura Flores will be the new chair and Andre Brumfeld will be the new next vice chair. And but first, what I have some comments I'd like to make. I've got a number of thank yous that I want to make as I depart as chair of the Plan Commission. But I want to first turn to Smita Shah. You probably noticed that she was not at today's meeting, but she has now joined us for these closing moments of both her and my tenure. So I just want to speak first of all to the first of all, thank you, Smita. It's been a great joy working with you. You are just so marvelous. We've had a really good time, and you've just been so kind and so supportive, and really, I mean, I can't even begin to say enough of how much I appreciate you, Smita. Appreciate your knowledge, your skills, your commitment, your dedication. You've been on the commission now for 14 years, and I think as you step off, you have many other things to do, including sit on a national advisory committee appointed by the President Biden on Asian and Pacific Islanders and Hawaiians, and you will serve well, I know, on that committee, and we congratulate you for that. But thank you, Smita. You've just been a really, really great vice chair to me, and I deeply appreciate it. Let me turn to you for your comments, and then we'll come back to me for my thank yous.
Thank you, Chairman. It's really been such an honor to serve Chicago, its neighborhoods, its communities as member and vice chair for 14 years. We've done some amazing things. I think my first item was a addendum. One of my first items was an addendum to the Shedd Aquarium as part of lakefront protection. We've done, obviously the Fulton Market Innovation District, and, you know, everything, just going from large to small. But I think one of my favorite items was a neighborhood development that they don't always gain the headlines, but they're the ones that are so impactful. And I remember my friend, the late, great Doris Holub, made a comment at that moment that, you know, we're so fortunate to have such a great, diverse community in Chicago, and to get these sort of unique and interesting developments. It was a mall in Little Village. And so, you know, these are the things, this great diverse fabric of the city of Chicago that we've been able to serve has been such an honor. It's also been so great to have such an amazing partnership between the city and business. And Plan Commission is a great example of that. In the past 5 years, and I think data isn't available because Noah Safranek, who has also been just such a rock star, hasn't been keeping the data prior to that, but we have data because of Noah. And we've done over $40 billion in development in the past 5 years, $10 billion for MBE, $2 billion for WBE. In the last year alone, we've developed 2,700 affordable housing units and 41,000 construction jobs, 40,000 permanent jobs. And if that's not a great partnership between what the city and business can do together and how we can make such a great difference for the community, I don't know what is. But, you know, you're all fantastic. I'm going to miss you. It's a little bit weird after 14 years to not have to keep my third Thursday available. But I won't miss the Zoom, I admit. But look forward to catching up with all of you soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Shah. Really appreciate it. So I want to thank a slew of people, and I do want to pick up on this theme that that Commissioner Shah spoke about the amount of development and work that has occurred in her tenure, but I've even seen it in mine. And the amount of there's just been some really great, fantastic projects that I've seen come through. And what I've seen is a lot of effort, a lot of pride put into these projects, and certainly they are essential for the economic health of our city. It's also true that I think the best of those projects really did incorporate many stakeholder voices. And so you probably noticed that I pay very close attention to the testimony that's provided by community members, and we can see what a difference their participation makes in the outcome of a project. So I really congratulate those developers that paid particular attention to incorporating stakeholders. And I think that I think we're setting a standard for that. One of the things I'm proud of is that I worked very closely with staff, and I thank Nancy Radovich for this, on changing the process for the master plan development so that stakeholders have an opportunity to be part of the process early on, I mean, from the get-go. And that was passed, I believe, in July of last year, by us, and it's now part of the process, official part of the process. Though it wasn't part of the official process when we did the Michael Reese site, the process was implemented, and I think we saw the benefits of that. So it's just been really exciting to see so many really, really good, thoughtful development projects that have come before us. And the extent to which we, again, involve stakeholders and continue to think about the impacts of those projects as they become even better. Alderman Burnett, you sure are a busy man with all the things that have been going on in the West Loop. And of course, it's been such an engine. I want to thank all the community members that take the time to come to the commission meetings. And I say that metaphorically because, of course, we're on Zoom now. But still, I think it's really, you're still taking time, and you're still taking time to write letters. You're taking time to come to talk with us, and I think I really appreciate that. So I very much want to thank that. And I think especially, your input was very useful for those on those biggest planning and development challenges. There's perspectives and insights that you bring to the table that are really critical to any thought processes as decisions are made. So again, I thank you, and I thank especially that working relationship when we see all the different stakeholders working together. I want to thank planning staff. They had to endure me sometimes, putting on my planning professor hat and talking, in the briefings and talking about sourcing citing their sources and font size and et cetera, et cetera. So sorry about that, but I hope that you did learn something from me. Clearly you're dedicated and I appreciate that. And I hope that you'll always be seeking creative ways to expand the possibilities for applying planning processes and techniques to continue to make this city a great city. Noah, of course, you're just awesome. I've just truly loved working with you and interfacing with you. You're so professional and so on top of it. And you've got a memory like an elephant. So I really appreciate you. I mentioned the master plan development objectives. I think those were, again, those are important in terms of defining the review process and helping us to bring stakeholders into that conversation early on. And I'm sorry, I said July, it was actually April when we passed that. The tech support, I want to thank Barb Radovich for, no, not Radovich, Barb, for your hard work. I just really, I frequently recognize you and I want to recognize you again because it's hard work what you do, our clerk reporter, and I just want to really acknowledge you and Kamal also for your tech support. Obviously, we couldn't do this without you. I want to thank the mayor for providing me this opportunity to serve the people of Chicago. I very much appreciate it and have been very honored to serve as chair of the Chicago Plan Commission. I also want to thank the aldermen and alderwomen on the Zoning, Building, and Historic Preservation Committee. I didn't get that exactly right when I had to come before you for confirmation of the appointments. Many of you said some very nice things about me, and I hope that that I have lived up to those kind of expressions. That included everyone, several people, including Alderman David Moore, Alderman Sigcho Lopez, Alderman Laspada, Haddon and Burnett, and Alderman Tunney. And Alderman Tunney, I'll never forget the question that you asked me at that hearing. I know you're not here right now. Finally, I want to thank my fellow plan commissioners. You have always shown me nothing but respect. I really have enjoyed working with my fellow plan commissioners. Again, I deeply appreciate the respect that you've shown me. And one of the stories that I think I'm probably going to tell forever is I remember one time when I was doing a roll call vote, and as I'm going down and I'm calling for people to vote, and you know how I would say people's name and then I'd wait for them to vote. I remember getting to my name and saying Commissioner Cordova, and then actually waiting for Commissioner Cordova to give her vote. And then I went, oh, wait a minute, that's me, right? So it's like, so little moments like that, I cherish, but you all have shown me nothing but respect. And so I really appreciate it. And so thank you. Thank you again to all of you. I really, truly have been honored and am honored to have served the city of Chicago, the people of Chicago in this role, and will continue with all of my other duties to serve the people of Chicago. And wow, I just saw a bunch of hands go up. Should I go to you, Noah, first for a technical, or should I go to Commissioner Searle?
Commissioner Searle can go first. Mine was a comment.
Okay, so let me go to Commissioner Searle, and then I'm just going to go in the order that they came. Commissioner Searle.
Well, thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Well, first I want to say to Commissioner Shaw that I'm going to be very sorry to lose seeing her every month at Plan Commission. We have, over the years, become very good friends and kind of allies in the process of talking and thinking about things on Plan Commission. So, Smita, I'm going to really miss you. And Commissioner Cordova, I just want to thank you for your service and your contribution. I have personally appreciated your ability to listen and to listen to all the participants and sides of an issue, and your ability to facilitate thoughtful and meaningful dialogue on the issues. So I'm wish you the best, and we will also miss you.
Thank you. Thank you. I very much appreciate that. Thank you.
I also just wanted to just comment, Commissioner Searle, it's been such a pleasure to serve under you as well as with you. Commissioner Searle was my first chair, and then we had, of course, Marty, and then we have Teresa, but I've learned a lot from all of you. And Linda, I'm going to see you all the time. I have lots of plans for you. So, but thank you so much for your kind words.
Thank you, Smita. Commissioner Shaw. Noah.
Thank you, Chairwoman. First, I want to do the effort of saying a few comments for people who mailed them in who couldn't be here. So Commissioner Moore sends her regrets that she couldn't be here and wanted to thank you and tell you that she has learned so much from you, the decorum and asking the tough questions. And then Commissioner Navarra had to drop off, also wanted to extend her best wishes in regards to you both for your time on the Plan Commission. And then me personally, I also want to thank you guys for the time that we were together. You got me in my first month with Plan Commission. So I started March 20th, running the plan, or March of 2020 rather, running the Plan Commission. And that was the first month we all got sent home for COVID and were said there is going to be no meeting. So we learned together how to get through the months. And it was not always, when we first started, we didn't quite see eye to eye, but we learned to work with one another to what we got today. Smita, she had me from day one. She had me from my very first presentation standing in front of you as a project manager. And you both have taught me a lot to become who I am today. So I appreciate that from both of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Noah. Thank you very much. Commissioner Villegas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to say thank you for serving the city. I want to thank also Commissioner Shaw for serving the city. You ladies will definitely be missed as it relates to being in the Plan Commission, but I know that your heart is here in the city. And I look forward to continuing to work with you in trying to make sure that we're turning the city around and making it the great place that we all know it is. And I want to congratulate also incoming Chairwoman Flores and look forward to working with her as well. So thank you for everything that you've done for the city. We would definitely miss you in this role, but I know that you're still committed here. So thank you, ladies, and good luck.
Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate it. Commissioner Brumfeld.
I'll keep my comments brief. I know there's a number of hands going up, but first I just wanted to thank Commissioner Shaw. She was one of the first people to pull me aside and listen to me and my questions that I had. Certainly provided great insight and also great intel in how to conduct myself on the board. So I thank you for that, and you will certainly be missed. Madam Chair, really appreciate your professionalism, your leadership, your passion that comes through on every board meeting, through all your comments, and particularly the passion that you have for our communities. We know that you're committed to this city. You've given us a very good template to move forward. Myself and Commissioner Flores, we have some shoes to fill here. Don't be surprised if we do ask a few questions of you later on, but we are going to miss you both and just really thank you for your service and your clear commitment to the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Brumfeld. Thank you very much. Commissioner Flores.
I am just overwhelmed with emotions. I can't really believe that this is happening. And I want you, Dr. Cordova, Chairwoman Cordova, to know that I've been learning from you from day one. It's been a great thing to watch you do what you do in such a wonderful way. You're a mentor, you're a leader, you're a great role model for me. And that's the main reason why I said yes to what I'm about to do. I do have big shoes to fill. I hope to do half of the job that you've done and just as gracefully as you've done it. I've been doing this for 6 years. I've learned every time I've joined this meeting. I've had so many mentors, starting with Linda. She has been next to me when we were able to be in person. She's answered all my questions, just like Andrea just said about Smita. She's also been a great role model to watch. I have so many things and thank yous about, everybody on the commission. I I am nervous. I'm excited, mostly nervous about what's coming, but I hope that we can do it together. And I'm grateful for the encouragement and for the trust. And I'll let everybody else speak.
Thank you, Commissioner. That's deeply moving. Thank you. I have no doubt whatsoever in your ability and Commissioner Brumfeld's ability to take on these leadership roles within the commission. I know you will, and I'm glad that both of you will have the opportunity to do so. So thank you. Thank you so much. Commissioner Reyes, our affordable housing advocate, siempre.
Sí, señora. Madam Chairwoman, Dr. Cordova. It's emotions that make me say your name that way because I am so extremely proud and so humble at the same time to have worked with you these last few years serving our city of Chicago. You are such an amazing role model and a mentor to me. Your ability to listen, your ability to question with empathy, your respect, and your passion, your commitment for our neighborhoods and for our Latino community. I thank you for that. Thank you. Commissioner Shaw, so incredibly proud of you where you will be now representing your community with President Biden. What an incredible, powerful women the two of you are. Thank you, because I remember you and your happy face smiling at me at my first meeting at City Hall where I had no clue where to sit down. So you will both of you will be profoundly missed. So thank you for sharing your knowledge, your experience, your passion, your commitment, both of you, with us and particularly with me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Commissioner Reyes. Truly appreciate it, deeply appreciate it. Commissioner Lyons.
I just want to echo so much of what we've heard, but for Chairwoman Cordova, your incredible leadership, particularly like in these very difficult times. Learned so much from you about listening and asking challenging questions that I think have pushed our discussions forward into new territory that I think is just really exciting and powerful. And the way you listen to the folks who come down and speak to us and share their concerns, I think is a real example. So thank you so much for everything you've shared with us and your leadership, and really inspiring. And to Vice Chair Smita Shah, I'll never forget the way that you sort of welcomed me my first day on Plan Commission. And when I was terrified and didn't know walking into that chamber what I was doing, you've always been so kind and and a light, I think, in that room. So I miss the in-person as well. And Commissioner Linda Searle was that person as well. So I'm so appreciative of you all. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Burnett.
Oh, thank you very much. I just want to thank both of you ladies for your civic duties. Commissioner Shaw, it's just unique to have someone on this commission who has an engineering background, right? And look at things from a different perspective. And you bring so much to this, you bring so much to this body. Really appreciate you. I think, if I'm not mistaken, didn't you go through a pregnancy with us? Was a child born while you was working with us?
Yeah. Both my kids on Plan Commission.
That's
I got
right.
married, actually.
Yeah, so so we want to thank your husband and your baby too for your civic duty. We're gonna miss you all so much. Thank you very much. And then to my Hamana, we want to thank you, sister. I mean, you know, you bring a different element to the commission. You know, we kind of feel your socialism coming out when you speak out and
you mean my push for the collective good?
Yeah, you know, and that's something that we need. We need different balances from different arenas, and you've done such a great job as a Latino female being in charge, and you know, you just show that, you know, whether you're female or male, you do a great job, and you're very fair, very level-headed, and you say how you feel and what you believe in. So I appreciate it. I know some of my colleagues kind of like look certain ways at times, but you know, I mean, but it is what it is, and we need those balances in society. You all have given up so much time in doing this. I mean, you know, when I do this, and my colleagues, when we do this, and the other folks who work for the city, we working. You know, we literally, this is our job. You all are volunteering. You don't get paid. You know, you guys take from your employment to be here. Some of y'all may lose money because you're here. I just want to say, God bless you all. Thank you all very much, and we appreciate you. And I, you know, I know the great thing about being on this commission for me, and I'm sure it's for you all too. It's like, you know, we're the smartest people in the city because we know so much more about the city than everybody else. You know, and I'm happy to have been able to be in this fraternity with you all and to share, you know, that knowledge in that field for the rest of the city like you all have. And thank you all very much. And I should say, Shukriya, muchas gracias. Okay.
Thank you.
God bless you all. GT Rejo.
Thank you, hermano. Thank you. Commissioner Escareño.
I'll keep my comments brief. I know I'm the new kid, I think. I just got here very recently, but I am so honored to have had the opportunity, Madam Chair, to have been part of this commission under your leadership. It makes me so proud as a Latina. I have followed your career, and so just grateful to have been given that opportunity, and certainly looking forward to working with Chairwoman Flores, you know, after your departure. But again, just thank you for all you have done for the city in leading in this role. And to Commissioner Shaw, I've seen you from afar. Our paths have crossed over the years that I've been at the city, and you too are just such an impressive, amazing leader in our city. But most of all, to the women, the three of you going and incoming, it is just such, it says a lot about Chicago when you have women of color and women, period, leading the city, especially during such a critical time in our history. These past 2 years have been nothing but challenging. And so proud to be in this role, but more importantly, to work under all of your leadership. So thank you on behalf of the Park District and myself. Thank you.
Thank you. And right back at you. Thank you so much. Yes. Commissioner Pinheiro. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Commissioner Cox and then Commissioner Pinheiro.
No, I'll be last.
Thank you, Chairwoman Cordova. Let me just say, a lot has been said, a lot of wonderful things have been said, and my tenure is relatively short, but I feel that it's important for me to say a few words. Commissioner Shaw, first of all, it's been a pleasure and an honor serving with you, and congratulations on the new appointment. We're very proud of you on the new appointment, and you will serve very well. So I wish you the best. Commissioner Cordova, thank you for your leadership. And I will have to say that among the many things that you do and you do well is that the moment that I joined the commission and I felt like being new to it, I needed some guidance and really trying to find a path. And especially since we're doing these meetings remotely, I reached out to you immediately, and you were, or I reached out to you and you were immediately very responsive and had a chance to get together and hear your perspective and your guidance. So I really appreciate that. And I hope that a conversation that I felt was just the beginning. We can continue that and that we can stay in touch with both of you. So thank you very much. As it relates to Commissioner Flores and Brumfield, I want to congratulate you both and certainly offer my support and congratulations. And I wish you all the best. And I'm really hoping that I'm hearing all of this, and all the meetings that I've been a part of have been Zoom meetings. And I'm really hopeful that that very soon we're going to have a chance to do these in person, to have a constructive dialogue in person. But thank you all, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Commissioner Cox, you're next. Did you say you want to wait?
I see Commissioner Biaggi.
I'll keep it quick. Commissioner Cox, you probably should go last. Because
you don't need to keep it quick if you don't want to, though.
You know, and Plan Commission is not one that keeps it quick, and I think that's a good thing. You know, I've been on both sides of the table. You know, I was head of planning at the Park District for many years, and so I've presented to Plan Commission and watched it. Been in the back room, getting ready to go up there. And I've watched a lot of iterations of Plan Commission over time. And now I'm on the other side of the table, or the video screen. And I have great appreciation for what both of you and the whole commission does. This is not an easy business. It is very difficult, I think, to balance, to listen, and to know that, you know, as a city commissioner in our departments, we're trying to do the right things. We're trying to get things done at the same time. And so I think both of you have done just an incredible job of helping guide us toward that, and doing the best that we can. And in hard circumstances, particularly with COVID. So Commissioner Shaw, I love having you on here as a fellow infrastructure person. You understand engineering and design, and I know Commissioner Brumfield will fill in as much as he can on that, but you're truly a special civic leader, and I so appreciate you and wish you the best. The Biden administration is lucky to have your voice on their committee. And to Chairwoman Cordova, you know, as a fellow UIC Mupster myself, it was incredible really to join a plan commission that had the Great Cities Institute represented. You know, I spent my years at the Voorhees Institute and learned so much of what I know about planning from UIC, and you are so emblematic of the best of that institution. And to have you leading has just been incredible to watch, and I'm so appreciative for you in that. So best of luck. The best thing is you're not like leaving town, right? So we can still get you and contact you and learn from you. So thank you so much, and all the best in the next chapters of your civic impact on our city.
Thanks so much. And I'm thinking this whole time too, it's so glad, you know, like a lot of times you have to wait to die before you can hear people say nice things, right? So it's nice that this isn't being done being done when we can hear it, right, Peter? All right, let me go next to Noah. You had your hand up again, and then
I just quickly wanted to make sure Commissioner Garza got recognized. He was swapping from phone to computer, and I couldn't promote him on the phone, so he's here. So I see his hands up, so he just wanted to have a chance to be recognized.
Yes, please, Commissioner Garza.
Thank you, Noah. Thank you for helping me out on both ends. So, Shmita, so I know that this work doesn't begin or end with the Plan Commission in terms of your civic commitment, because I've seen you out at many events that really go to promote what the community needs. So I've always admired your ability to be in many places at different times because of your commitment. So it's been my honor to serve with you on the commission. And then Commissioner Cordova, I think the true test of a leader is not just when, you know, great things are happening, but when we're challenged. And I've seen you really work through some commission meetings with great finesse and great dignity. And I think that's the sign of a great leader, on top of, you know, being able to see the great things happen as we've been able to see over the last several years under your leadership. And so I also am honored to have served with you, and from the person that works in the healthcare industry, it's just been a tremendous learning experience for me to see how these projects really go towards promoting in an underlying way, and I think in an overlying way, the public health of the city. So thanks for your service, both of you, and congratulations to Vice Chair Brumfeld and incoming Chairwoman Flores. I'm excited for you, and hopefully I can continue to provide the support to you that you deserve. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. Really appreciate it. You know, and something else I had wanted to say too, that I wanted to get it in here, and Commissioner Biaggi reminded me, you know, is around the infrastructure issues and around, because one of the things that a lot of the developers came to us with a lot of really interesting, sustainable approaches to storm drainage. You know, I used to always joke about that I found really issues around storm drainage really exciting, right? People look at me like, what? But I think there's a lot of really interesting stuff here too, and I think that focus on the need to focus on that is really important. I was glad to see that also articulated in the vision, right? This importance about addressing climate change, you know, the ways we do things. So I think the whole, you know, the infrastructure, the engineering piece of this, and engineering working with others, because it takes a team, takes a village, takes a team. So I just want to really highlight that, because if I don't, I'll remember, I wanted to say that and I forgot. But anyway, so I'm glad you prompted me to remember that, Commissioner Biaggi. And thank you again, Commissioner Garza. Commissioner Cox.
Yes. So I thoroughly enjoyed listening to the testimony. You really do understand the power of your contribution when your colleagues get the mic and talk about their true appreciation of what you've done. So it's been a remarkable 2.5 years of service, and to Commissioner Shaw, an amazing 14 years of service. And I think it speaks to your belief that, you know, a professional has an obligation to be a public professional, a public servant. And so your tenure has been really exemplary. And I think it's, I'm sure, a model for a lot of young women to understand that if they can bring their love of community and love of their profession together to service, it's really the best outcome. So we just thank you for that level of service. And as I said to Chairwoman Cordova, it's just been remarkable to serve with you for these 2.5 years. I think it's pretty rare, the set of skills that you brought to the job. I mean, it's rare in the planning field to find someone who has years of planning theory and practice, and then they can combine it with a level of empathy that is exuded in every meeting we've had. People feel respected, people feel heard, and it's a body that is much better as a result of your model. So I think it's pretty clear that you also shepherded this commission through one of the more difficult transitions that it's seen, and that is going from in-person meetings to this virtual meeting format, which, you know, inherently is a little bit cold. And so you have found a way to warm up the room, make people smile, make people feel that they are being heard in person. So no small feat, and I just thank you for that. I think the idea that we made strides in a policy perspective on community engagement during COVID is pretty remarkable, right? The amendments you made to the master PD process that are now adopted policy will be, I think, a lasting legacy. We saw it play out in the Brownsville lakefront, and we will continue to see it play out. And this is something that I think you brought to the commission. It just, you know, a planning commission that feels like a safe place to have your voice heard is a rare thing in a city. And I think that has really been one of your hallmarks. So Mayor Lightfoot, the planning development staff, clearly your fellow planning commissioners, and most importantly, I think the citizens of Chicago are just so incredibly thankful for your service. And I just wanted to thank you. And I just enjoyed listening to this. This has been a fascinating and heartfelt expression of our appreciation of you. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Commissioner Cox. And of course, I wish you and the department and the mayor continued success in moving forward great things in the city. You know, one of the things that I said too in my thank yous was how respected I felt from all my fellow commissioners. I mean, I really I felt it, and it made my job, made what I do a lot easier, and it made it fun. You know, so I have you know, right back out to all of you, right, in terms of the respect that I feel for all of you. So I hope that our paths will continue to cross, and that we'll interface in so many other arenas and venues, and as somebody said, it's not like we're leaving the city, right? And right. Certainly my work with Great Cities Institute will continue, and on those third Thursdays, it's like, wow, okay. I got a whole day now to.
We live stream. You can always watch.
Right.
I'll be dying to do that, right? Of course, not to mention the prep work and so on that goes into it. But no, I really truly have been extremely honored and very appreciative of the opportunity to serve the city of Chicago and to bring my experience and my perspective to the table. So thank you for receiving me. And really seriously, thank you for these amazing words, these amazing expressions. I'm genuinely moved, and it's gonna hard to go back to work now for the rest of the day. I feel like I should take the day off or something, man. Open a bottle of wine, you know. You know, bring out. Or maybe I should do margaritas or something, you know.
Maybe that should be Noah's last assignment for us, organizing a glass of wine amongst all of us.
Yeah, that would be fun.
So, Chairwoman, I probably, even though I think people have been acknowledging the new leadership that is getting ready to take its place, I probably should take a moment to officially announce it on behalf of Mayor Lightfoot, who has appointed the next commission's chairwoman as our current commission member, Laura Flores. I think most of you know, because you've served with her for years now. She is an architect. She's an experienced and talented professional, and she is currently the Director of Operations and Interiors for JGMA, which is an award-winning architectural practice here in Chicago. She joined the Plan Commission in 2015, so she has the advantage of 6 years tenure in her service to the city. But I think what many may not know is she's also emerged as a pretty prominent leader in the Latino community, both as a designer in her work in organizations like Arquitectos, which is the Society of Hispanic Professional Architects, and her civic work with Mujeres Young Professionals Advisory Council. So she's accepted this new leadership role, and I think we're all going to help her be successful. I think it speaks extremely well for the continued leadership of women in this city and in the Latino community. So, so congratulations and thank you, Commissioner Flores. I have to start calling you Chairwoman Flores for accepting the appointment. And we're also really, really pleased to announce Andre Brumfeld, who joined the Plan Commission in 2019, has accepted the position of Vice Chair. So he'll be working closely with Laura. He is a consummate design professional. He had over 30 years of experience in improving, cities and neighborhoods, not only here in Chicago, but around the globe. He's currently the principal and Global Director of Cities and Urban Design at Gensler, another award-winning design practice here in Chicago. He has just an extensive experience in urban design and planning and architecture and in revitalizing communities that have historically been neglected. So his contribution as the vice chair will be a tremendous benefit to both the new chairwoman and the city of Chicago. And I just would like to congratulate you both and thank you for stepping up into these leadership roles. It's our pleasure.
Oh, thank you, Commissioner.
You all are going to do a great job. And do either Commissioner Flores or Brumfeld want to say anything? Just to give you a chance in case you want to say anything. I know you're looking forward to next meeting.
I just want to say that I've been specifically attentive today to today's meeting, just to do just as good of a job that you do. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm excited. So thank you for the encouragement.
Well, I'm available for any questions. Noah has.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we certainly will be considering reaching out to you both. As I said before, we have some real shoes to fill here, but we are thrilled to be working with our fellow commissioners with creating a better future for our city. And I think as Alderman Burnett said, this is just such a pleasure to serve on this board. We really get a preview into how we can actually shape the future of our great city here in Chicago. And we know that we have our work cut out. We know that we have two great leaders who are stepping down and have clearly given us a very good template to carry forward. And we look forward to working with you all and serving at the pleasure of the mayor to really make this a better city. So thank you. And we certainly know you're not leaving the city. As Commissioner Biaggi said, we certainly may be reaching out to you for a few questions here and there. So
I thought you were going to say reaching out for a glass of wine, but I got mine on my mind here.
Well, you said margaritas earlier, so that kind of distracted me.
That works too.
I see that Heidi Sperry joined us for this moment. I just wanted to shout out to you, Heidi. I think you're an amazing professional, and I appreciate you coming in. I've been just so proud of you and Emily. You're both really great planners. So thank you, Heidi. Nice to see you.
Thank you very much, Chairwoman. It's been a pleasure working with you.
Thank you. I appreciate you a lot.
It is, so it's your pleasure to
adjourn. Oh, no, I'm not. I want to go. I want to, I want to hear. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, let me find my Word document. Actually, there was one more thing. What did I want? Oh, I know what I wanted to say. That's why I was holding on, because there was one more thing I wanted to say. I asked I teach a class called Introduction to Urban Studies, and I may call upon some of you on occasion to come speak to the class. But of course, the question always comes up, okay, what makes a great city? When you think about Chicago, why do you like being here, right? And so, get a whole array of answers. And of course, we talk about international cities, we talk about ancient cities. But one of the things that's important about Chicago, well, there's many things. But one, of course, is its design, is its architecture. It's one of the things I think when people come from all over the world, they're really struck by that. And there was a moment in our history when we could have lost so much of that. We did lose so much of that. And so I think the focus on design, of course, among other things, is really valuable. And that's, again, that sort of pride that we take around about the kind of built environment that we're creating. Obviously thinking about its impacts, but design does matter. And so,
thank you.
I want to say that to you, Commissioner Cox.
Thank you.
All right, and I do believe I've said everything that I had in my notes that I wanted to cover. This does conclude this month's meeting of the Chicago Plan Commission. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Biaggi.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner, seconded by?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner. Seconded by Commissioner Pinheiro. Commissioner Barkley, I believe, is not here. Commissioner Brumfeld.
Yes.
Commissioner Burnett. I know he's double on his.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Biaggi.
Yes.
Commissioner Cordova is a yes. Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Escareno.
Yes.
Commissioner Flores.
Yes.
Commissioner Garza.
Yes.
Commissioner Lyons.
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy.
Yes.
Commissioner Pinheiro,
Yes.
Commissioner Reyes,
Yes.
Commissioner Searle,
Yes.
and I think, is Commissioner Villegas still here? And so before I hit the gavel, I just want to again say to all of my fellow commissioners, thank you, thank you, thank you for the great respect that you showed me. It's really been an honor. And with that, this month's meeting of the Chicago Plan Commission is adjourned at 12:34. Many blessings to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairwoman.